So, this is your IELTS speaking test. And, well, when you enter the room and all those things that we talked about, of course, a smile and all that, and you sit there and there's an examiner there. It could be a man or a woman, a gentleman or a lady. And it's good to do all that stuff, but then there's a warm-up. So the person lets you know that the conversation gets recorded and introduces himself and asks you to introduce yourself. Usually, everything starts with a warm-up. It's a very usual case for a warm-up to start the whole 14-minute to 15-minute ordeal. Now, could you show me your identification card, please? It's either your passport or usually your passport or your, if you're a permanent resident here in Canada, for example, your PR card, so on and so forth. Could you tell me your full name, please? And then, of course, now this is very important because from the very beginning you need to be confident and you need to Yuko Iguchi. Like that, yes. I mean, if you're kind of like scaredy and then, you sit there and no. What shall I call you? John. They wouldn't usually say, what shall I call you? But well, if they ever say, you can call me Yuko. Does your name have any special meaning? Well, they might ask you these things. Kind of unusual. I've never asked anyone these things, but well, yeah. Yuko means IELTS champion, you can tell them.
Oh, that's good.
Why do so many people change their names? Why? So it's good to come up with some reasons for these. Why do people change their names? Why? Well, different people change their names for different reasons, or for various reasons, for different reasons. A variety of reasons, various reasons. You can say, personally, I love my name, so I've never thought about it, but that's not a good answer. So you should, even if you have nothing in your mind, you should go on and you should try to imagine why people. Now, certain people, sometimes people change their names for certain religious reasons. They're not religious, their names are religious, they don't like it, they name it for religious reasons. Some people are not religious and their names are religious, they change their names, they don't like the sound of it, the tone of it. Some people, they become religious, their names are not religious enough, they want to have religious names. Some people do not like, for example, biblical names, Quranic names, names in the Bible, in the Quran, so they don't like those names. Other people do not like some people do not like their namesakes. Namesake is a person you've been named after. If you've been named after a prophet or your grandpa, grandma, or like a friend of your dad's or mom's, those are your namesakes. So you may not like it. Or some people for whatever reason, they grow up and they get to like certain names. Some people change their names for business purposes. It's a whole variety. It's a variety of reasons. So it's various reasons why. People change. They would say, well, I guess people change their names. Different people change their names for different reasons. Some change their names for religious purposes. Others change it for business purposes. Some people change their names. Oh, some people change their names to avoid identification. That was nice. So some people change their names to avoid identification, such as criminals. They adopt false names, and aliases. So an alias, what's an alias? An alias is a pseudonym, is a false name. So many people they have many aliases. These criminals, they don't want to be identified by the police, so they choose different names. So that was another thing. So this is brainstorming. Right now we're thinking about the answer to this. So if something comes to your mind, you can say it right now. Is your name important to you, Yuko?
Yes.
Yes, why? You can say it's the name my parents gave me. My parents gave me. My parents gave me. And that's why it's very precious for me. Yeah, precious for me. Yeah? You can say it's very precious because my parents gave me this name. And sometimes you say, for names, yes, they named me, my parents named me after my grandmother. And I love her very much, and that's why I love my name. Sometimes you can say, I grew up with this name. My name is my identity. Say, I grew up with this name. I grew up being called. I grew up being called Yuko. I can't think of a different name. All my relatives and friends, all my friends and relatives know me by this name. All my friends and relatives know me by this name. And you can say, sometimes you can say, a name doesn't give value to me. I would give value to my name. So some people believe that the name gives them value or detracts from their value. And indeed, it's my personality that gives my name value. So, and it goes on and on and on, right? And of course, hometown or birthplace, they can ask you about, so where do you come from?
Japan.
Nagoya, Japan, or Nagoya, Japan. Where do you live? Of course, you can say currently. I live in Toronto. And not just Toronto, like where in Toronto. But the one thing I want to tell you is, if they ever ask you this question, like where do you come from? You don't just say Nagoya, Japan. Nagoya, Japan. Did I spell Nagoya right? Nagoya. Yeah, Nagoya. Nagoya, Japan. So you don't just say this. I come from Nagoya, a small, for example, city or a city or a large city, where in Japan? Like, is it west of Japan?
Oh, middle. So between Tokyo and Osaka.
So Midwest of Japan. So in close to a large city, close to Tokyo in the middle of Japan. You can say that. So don't just say give one name. I mean, you can say I come from Nagoya, and then you can say a large city close to Tokyo in the middle of Japan, or you can say Nagoya is a large city located. You know, where? So where do you live? Currently I live in, where? Like, for example, Yonge and Eglinton, Midtown Toronto. And I would say, for example, Yonge and Eglinton, Midtown Toronto. So it would be Midtown Toronto. And for example, in a quiet neighborhood, or in a busy neighborhood, yeah. So currently, I live, I live in a quiet or in a busy neighborhood, in close to the Yonge and Eglinton intersection, in Midtown intersection in Midtown Toronto, right? This is an example. So, where do you live? In a very nice neighborhood and close to Yonge and Sheppard in Toronto. So you need to actually have some explanation. I mean, like, you need to remember the word expand on something, elaborate. You need to elaborate a bit, not just say one word or two. You need to elaborate. And then it goes, can you tell me something about your hometown? Of course, then you should describe your hometown. So we've talked about it, but then all those words, whether it's crowded, whether it's not crowded, whether it's busy, whether it's quiet, about the weather. So some of the factors that you can talk about would be quiet, busy, crowded, not crowded, so densely populated, sparsely populated. And you can talk about the food. So basically here you can talk about the population. You can talk about the people, the character of the people. People are kind and friendly and outgoing. Could be kind and friendly, and outgoing, etc. Helpful. We also have hospitable. They like foreigners, whoever visitors. You can talk about the weather, of course. One of the major things. So it's rainy, cloudy, whatever. You can talk about the food. Any local foods. So local food and restrooms. You can talk about the recreational centers. Any spa, gym, educational centers. So you can talk about all this stuff. If your city has pollution, it's about pollution, traffic. If none of them, if it's agricultural, industrial city, might be an agricultural city or industrial. So I come from a small, big town, village, north of, south of. So basically, can you tell me something about your hometown? It could be like a small, big, was city, town, village. You can say north of or south of, east, north, south of Japan. So this we would write with north, east, north, south, east, west, west of Japan, for example, or another country. So you can also go northeast, northeast, northwest, northwest of Japan, northeast of Japan, southeast, southwest of Japan, or any other country. It's quiet, it's blah blah, so you can talk about the population and so on. So these are the things that you will talk about, correct? Can you tell me some famous landscapes or scenic spots in your hometown? They might ask about some places in your hometown. They might ask you about any historic places, any monuments, any special places in your hometown. Tourist sites or monuments or any special places to go. They can ask about that, and then if there is any, you can mention, of course. And then can you tell me some history of your, can you tell me about the history of your hometown? Can you tell me about the history? This is not a very usual question because most people really do not know about the history of their hometowns. But then if they ask you, well, my hometown, sometimes there are some difficult questions, so you say, I'm not really sure about the history of my hometown, but I know this much and I can share with you what I know. But I know this much, for example, this and that, and then you can talk about some of the changes in your hometown since you were born, or the things that you have heard. But I've heard from my mom and dad, or my grandparents, or my parents, that the town was like this, that my city was like this and that. Personal background and information. This is personal about you. Are you a student or do you have a job? So if somebody asks you, are you a student or do you have a job, it's you don't answer, yeah, I'm a student or I work. So you need to explain a bit further than that. I'm like, you have to go further. So you say, I'm a student, I'm studying, for example, biology at whatever university. And yeah. Or if you have a job, you say, well, I work as a this and that at this place and that place. I have a full-time job as a or in a part-time job. So you need to explain a bit more. What do you like most about your study? So, what do you like most about it? For example, what are you studying? What were you studying in Japan?
English.
Oh, really? I really enjoy doing something, whatevering. Or what I love about my major is I chose this major because I chose this major because I was really interested. I was really interested. I was and I am really interested in whatever. So if it's photography, for example, well, I love photos and photographs, and what I love most about it is this my field of study gives me the chance to study more about, to read a lot more about photography and the art of photography. And I have knowledgeable professors at university or college instructors who can help me, and I get to meet a lot of friends and who are also studying photography, for example. So, what kind of job do you prefer after graduation? So after graduation, maybe a stable, full-time job in, for example, a multinational company. multinational company with high salary. So you can say my ideal job would be, of course, my ideal job would be a stable full-time job in a multinational company with a high salary and great benefits. Benefits such as what? Such as health insurance, and dental care coverage, plus paid holidays. What else do you want? Paid holidays.
Bonus?
And bonuses, right? This goes on, right? And vacations. So what is your major? What are you studying? Well, you can talk about your major a bit. What do you do for a living? So what do you do for a living, or what do you do for a living, or for a living, is what's your job? That's another way of asking what your job is. So tell me, what do you do for a living? Sometimes they might ask you this because they want to know if you know what do you do for a living is. Now, I've always said it, if somebody asks you, well, what do you do for a living, and you don't understand, there are two ways of not understanding something. Once, you don't understand a question because the guy was fast, or for some reason you didn't hear him. Another reason might be because you didn't know the word or phrase. So if you don't know the word or phrase, if you ask him, so could you please repeat the question, chances are he will say the same thing, and you will. So could you please rephrase the question? Rephrase the question. So you would say this because you want him to change the words of his sentence. But if you are sure that you didn't get it because either he was fast or something happened or for some reason you didn't understand, so could you please repeat the question? It's not bad to ask the examiner to repeat the question. It's worse if you don't understand the question and you go on answering the wrong answer because you got the wrong idea what the question was in the first place. So could you tell me a typical day of yours? Yeah, could you tell me about a typical day? One of your typical days? And then, of course, you should talk about your daily what? Daily routine. Daily routine. So everybody's typical day is different, right? You would say, I wake up at this time in the morning and I go to work or I go to take a shower, go to school and have a small breakfast or eat breakfast and go to school and meet people or you go on or go to work depending on what your typical day is like. Then how do you get your job? How did you get your job? How did you find your job? Yeah? Or you can talk about it. I searched on the internet, I looked for the job, and I looked at the job ads, and so on and so forth. Now we have the topic job, we have talked about it, right? So, and then I submitted my resume, I emailed my resume, I applied online, and this and so on and so forth. Are you satisfied with your job? Then you can talk about it. It's good to sound positive. Oh yeah, I really love my job, I enjoy it a lot. And then you can talk about your job. You can say, to me, job satisfaction is one of the most important factors. One of the most important factors is job satisfaction, and I'm completely satisfied with my job. Of course, it has its minuses, advantages, and disadvantages, but all in all, so you can say, of course, every occupation, and then it's good to paraphrase. If he says job has its ups and downs, advantages and disadvantages, and maybe disadvantages. But all in all, I truly enjoy my work. And you can go on and say why. Because, for example, it's a dynamic job. It keeps me up to date. It keeps me. I get to help people a lot. So it's a highly rewarding job. My job is very rewarding. Or you can say it's a very challenging yet rewarding job. So it is very, we have demanding job, challenging job. So very demanding yet rewarding. So if a job is rewarding, means it gives you satisfaction, right? It's what do you like most about your job? Again, what do you like most about your job? You can say, I get to help people. I get to talk to different people. So, for me, something is very important for me. And that's what I love. That's what I really like most about my job. So, human contact is very important for me. Human contact is very important for me. So meeting new people is perhaps the most important aspect of my job. My favorite part is what I really enjoy most, or maybe meeting people, maybe learning new things. Meeting new people, it could be learning new things. What else could there be? It could be meeting new people, it could be learning new things, it could be what could you like about your job very much? If you work in a kitchen, I learned to make different types of food. If you work as an engineer, for example, an aviation engineer, you get to it's my dream job. I get to work with planes and so on and so forth. So what kind of job do you prefer in the future? You can say that if you're happy with your job, so it would be kind of illogical to totally change position and say, hey, look, I'm really happy with my job, but in the future I want to do something totally different. So it's good to go up. You can talk about promotion and advancement in your own job. I would like to continue what I'm doing and advance in my job. I would like to continue what I'm doing and advance in my job. So you can talk about promotion. My job has the potential, there's a lot of potential for growth in my line of work. So there's a lot of potential for growth in my job. I want to become currently I am, for example, a store associate or whatever, and I want to become a store manager. And after that, hopefully, currently I am, I am hoping to, I would like to become whatever, and hopefully after that, or after a few years, I would like to advance to become for example, branch manager, this and that. So hobbies and inclinations. So let's talk about your hobbies. What do you usually do in your spare time?
Reading, writing, spending time with friends, playing board games.
This is a good question. So what do you usually do in your spare time? Yuko, what do you do?
I like going out.
Oh, I enjoy going out. I enjoy going out with friends. Some people enjoy shopping. Some people enjoy playing shopping. Some people enjoy sports activities. Some people enjoy playing games. Could be board games, could be video games. Some people like to hang out with friends. So going out with friends, or love hanging out. I love hanging out with friends. Hang out with friends. Some people like to spend quality time with friends and family. So quality time is a good phrase, quality time. Some people enjoy spending quality time with friends and family. And the list could go on and on and on and on. And next one is do you prefer to stay home? Well, next one is, do you prefer to stay alone or with your friends? It could be stay home alone. Stay alone, that is stay home, for example. Alone or with your friends. What do you usually do on weekends or weekdays? It could be, what do you usually do on weekends, for example? What do you do on weekends? Same things, right? Yeah. I stay home and rest. I go out with friends, go to the movies, and maybe go to the gym, go shopping. So there's a whole lot of things people would do on weekends and would talk about. So what do you usually do when you go out? So do you go to restaurants, or do you go shopping? Or do you just go to visit friends? So go to restaurants, shopping, visit friends. What? What do you usually do with your friends? What do you do with your friends? Just talk to them, hang out with them. Yeah? And play games? No? Or go to restaurants with them? Spend some time? Have fun with them? Like hang out with them? And do you like reading? I hate it. So never say I hate it. There, say, oh, I love reading, man. I read 5 books a day. Oh, I love reading. So the way you answer is key. So sometimes say, oh, I love reading. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love reading. In fact, I like nothing like reading. That's the one thing, that's my number one hobby. In fact, reading, or as a matter of fact, reading is my number one hobby. That's such a lie. Yeah? What kind of books do you like best? What kind of books do you like best?
Fantasy.
Fantasy books, right? Fantasy books. It could be fictions. Fantasy books are like fictions. I like fictions. So fantasy books, better say fictions. So then if it's fictions, then you should explain a bit more. I love fictions because of all the fantasy and all the... it takes you away from the world of reality, right? And I kind of imagine myself doing the things that the characters in the book do, and going to the places like the characters go. So it kind of takes me away from this life for a while, and I forget about my surroundings, my daily life, and engage in a different kind of fictitious life, which I truly enjoy. The fictitious adventures. So if you like fictions, it could be anything, any kind of... So what kinds of books do we have? We have drama, we have fiction, we have novels, short stories, short stories, scientific books, academic books, scientific or science books. Books about business, novels, psychology, different areas of books, different genres also. Literature. So do you like English? Why or why not? I love it. I especially love my teacher Ray. He's the best in the world, and of course he inspired me to learn English. No, well then you can talk about it, of course. What do you think of the importance of English? Oh, that's a good question. So what do you think of the importance of English? Why is English important? Why are you even studying it? An international language of sorts, right? Of sorts. A kind of we say lingua franca, which is a kind of common language, So it doesn't have it here, but let me show you. So we have lingua franca. So lingua, yeah, it's with C. So lingua franca is a common language, and I think if I do it with C, it won't. No, it's not giving me that option. That's funny. So lingua franca. So lingua franca would be a common language. Common language. So maybe the first importance of English is language is used. Language is a means of communication, right? Language is a means of communication. Communication. And since English is an international language of sorts, is an international language of sorts. Of sorts means like it's somehow an international language. It's so by learning English, one can communicate with the rest of the world. So I can go to not only English-speaking countries, but even in Europe and different countries. And if you speak English, you can manage, you can survive, and you can communicate with people. So one of the basic things is communication. Another thing would be because of the advances made in countries such as the United States. English, many good universities in the world, they use English as a language of instruction. It's viewed as the language of science, a language of academic studies. So for going to good top universities, top ranking universities in the world, one needs English, so on and so forth. So those could be the reason. And also when it comes to trade and business, again, the United States is the world's largest economy and its language is English. So most trade is now transacted in English, especially if you want to do business with American companies that are around the world. So that could be part of it as well. What are good hobbies and bad hobbies? Why? Good hobbies and bad hobbies. The good hobbies are the ones that are educational and teach me things and all that. The bad hobbies, maybe the ones that simply waste your time and energy and would maybe things that are addictive, like addiction and things that would destroy our mind and body and things like that would be bad. Anything else would be good. Future plans? Why are you taking IELTS? Why do you want to take the IELTS test? Why do you want to take the IELTS test? Because why? Because I want to go to college, university. Because I want to enter college. So because I want to enter college or university, and English, IELTS is one of the requirements. IELTS, passing the IELTS test, actually you don't pass passing the IELTS test is a major requirement. It's a major admission requirement. Yeah? In order to gain admission, obtain admission, I need to pass the IELTS test. And of course I look at IELTS as a gate to the world of knowledge and studying, because that's I need to pass IELTS so as to enter college or university. And we can explain a bit more. And you can say, on the other hand, I want to test my own knowledge and whatever. Some people take IELTS for immigration purposes. So as I'm immigrating to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, so I need to pass IELTS for. Some people pass it for their job promotion in their jobs. So I'm taking IELTS because I need a promotion in my job, and if I manage to obtain a score above 6, 7, 6.5, whatever your band score, then I'll get promoted. Well, what are you planning to do in the next 5 years? Well, this is about future. So, so then you can talk about the plans for the next 5 years. I'm planning to study this and that, or get a job, or travel around the world, or you can talk about your dream job, changing it, or promotion in your job, or whatever dreams you have. So what are you planning to do in the next 10 years? What is the first thing you will do when you arrive at a new place? I don't know, they might even ask you, what is the first thing you do when you arrive at a new place?
I'll check the map, like the location, for something fun, like a restaurant, supermarket.
Yeah, different people do different things. I would first want to know where I am. So I would like to, first and foremost, I would say first and foremost, it's good first and foremost. I would like to know where I am and what I can do, where I am, and what opportunities are available there, what the facilities, amenities, and what's the potential, or what the amenities and and facilities are, and then decide what to do. You can also tell them depends on why, the purpose of my travel. Why, it depends on why I've gone to the place in the first place. If it's a business trip, and of course I know that I'm there for business, but you can say usually I plan ahead. I usually plan ahead and have a clear idea about what I want to do when I go to a new place. And then, for example, and then you can give an example. And now here's traveling. Do you like traveling? Do you like to travel alone or with your friends? Have you traveled to other places? Where are they? What do you usually do when you first arrive in a new place? What are the benefits of traveling? Why do so many people like traveling nowadays? Do you think it's true that travel broadens the mind? This is good. Travel broadens the mind. It's something that you can say. So, remember broaden? So travel broadens the mind and makes your mind broader. Do young people and older people benefit differently from traveling? How can you make sure you get the most from your travels? So, the traveling, you can experience, you can talk about adventures. You can talk about experiencing new experiences, experiencing new whatever, meeting new people, and getting to know different places, different places, people, and cultures and languages and cultures, and all the rest. The questions go on about your family, also your friends, music, transportation, sport, and these are some of the questions that they ask you at the beginning. So it could be about your family. Tell me something about your family. Mom and dad, and I come from a large family, small family, large family, right? Or a small family, where I have 2 siblings, 1 sister and 1 brother. So my parents are like this, like that, and then you go on. And there's some questions. Tell me something about your family. What do you like doing most with your family? I'd like to spend quality time with my family. Quality time, remember? Who are you close to in your family? My mother, my father, or both of them, my sister, my brother. And then you need to give some reasons. They're always there for me. They're supportive, like this and that. Who are you close in your family? In what ways is your family important to you? In what ways have families changed in the last 100 years? You can say technology maybe has changed a lot of things. The new generation, it's an online generation. There's something we have, it's called digital gap. The digital gap. Because, well, traditionally we have something we call the generation gap. So, generation gap is a traditional thing. So when a new generation is different from the old generation. It's always been like that. But now we have something called the digital gap, because now the older people who are not familiar with technology and computers and cell phones and things like that, the gap is much larger than previous generations. like my grandfather and his father, were not as different as the kids. And it's proven, it's a proven fact that the pace of changes, especially in the realm of industry and technology, that pace is of course a lot faster right now. That the pace of change is accelerated unimaginably, incredibly, over the past few decades. So right now, a few years equals the changes that occur in just a few years would equal changes that would occur in decades just some years ago. So of course changes are happening and occurring much faster today than they did before. So maybe should we rely heavily on our families, or is it better to try to be independent? Well, we can talk about it. You can say, in my view, it's better to be independent. But at the same time, it's good not to lose touch with family, but independence is, in my opinion, the answer. And then you can talk about it. And you can say also, maybe I would not only like to be independent, but I would also like to help my parents and support them, because at some point, when I was a kid, they did their best to support me and do this and that, and now it's my turn. Friends, do you have many friends? Are they casual acquaintances or close friends? So casual acquaintance is someone you just know. An acquaintance or close friends. Do you prefer to stay with your family or with your friends? This is always a question. Do you prefer, now Claudia said she would like to spend time with both. It could be both or one of them. Do you prefer one or two close friends or many friends? One or two close friends or many friends? Can you talk about your best friends? This is a usual question. So, how to make friends? Well, what do you usually do with your friends? Is the time you spend with your friends as much as that you spent with your family? What do you expect from a good friend? What should a good friend be like? And as friends, are friends as important as family to you? Do you think friendships change as we get older? How? Music? Do you like music? What kind of music do you like? What are the benefits of listening to music? What kind of music? Why do you like this kind of music? What is your favorite musical instrument? So if it's pop, if it's jazz, if it's classical music, if it's reggae or alternative or indie, that is independent, or whatever kind of music that is, then you should be able to talk about it. What is your favorite musical instrument? Mine would be piano. Yours could be the guitar or the flute. And then you should talk about it. Why? Because it feels so good. For example, the guitar, I can hold it in my hand. It feels so personal and so cozy and so mine. Piano is the only instrument I've learned and loved all my life, so mine would be the piano. Transportation. Can you say something about transportation in your hometown? So then you could talk about the most popular means of transportation, which could be the public or private. You can say subway. Subway is the most popular means of transportation in my city. And it could be public transportation, private. What is a common means of common means of transport in your country? So the most popular means of transport or transportation? Or what is the most common or most popular form of transport in your country, in your hometown? Is it the subway? Is it the bus? Is it private vehicles? So public or private vehicles? Do traffic jams often occur in your hometown or in the city where you live? Are there traffic jams there? How to solve the problem? How to solve the problem is like, okay, how do you think the problem should be solved? How do you think the problem should be solved? Or maybe more roads, more bridges, less cars? Or some traffic rules and regulations, like what changes in transportation have taken place in the past several years in your country? Sport. Are you good at sport? Yuko, are you good at any sport? What sports do you play? What is the most popular sport in your country? Baseball or soccer? Which one is more popular, baseball or soccer?
I think baseball.
What do you do to keep fit? What is the most popular sport in your country? What do you do to keep fit? Do you go to the gym? Do you run? Do you walk and jog? Or what are the best ways to keep fit? Do you think most people consider exercise a chore, or do they find it fun? What is the most popular form of exercise in your country? So these are some of the questions that the person might start the warm-up, or basically start the IELTS or even CAE interview with. So we need to be prepared to answer some of these questions.